Hello, and welcome to a film suggestion with the Termeister. So, for Halloween, that is. So, as always, it's unscripted, so everything just pours on straight from my head. Right, so I've got 4 films for you, right? So, I've got one to avoid. One, basically, there's 2 that are like for certain people. Like, if you'll see what I mean when I kind of give my review and that. It's a review, so there'll be no spoilers at all. There'll be no spoilers, just suggestions. And then just one absolute, hands down, watch for Halloween. It's personally my favourite film of the year so far that I've watched. I think it came out last year though, but I only watched it this year, so I'm classing it as that. So, right up. First of all, a film to avoid is Absentia. Right. Choice now. There is a channel on YouTube. I love them. I do. This is just kind of funny. But they rhyme with Twat Vulture. Right. 2 films now that they've suggested to watch. Like saying it's really good. And they've been absolutely terrible. And this was one of them. And I cannot remember the other one. Dread, I think it was called. Not obviously not Judge Dredd. It's called Dread. Right, Absentia. This film is terrible. Yes, I get it. It's a low budget film, and come on, if you know me by now, I love my B-movie horrors. You know what I mean? They're fun, they're exciting, they're over the top. This has nothing as that. There is absolutely nothing in this film. I won't do spoilers, but basically, for I'd say like 60% of this whole film, you're dealing with somebody who's, this is in the synopsis, who's dealing with some partner, husband, I think. Yeah, they've just been married, I think, when he went missing. Basically, yeah. So this woman, she's pregnant, and her husband's just disappeared, right? And Absentia is kind of referencing to when you basically absentia is when someone's been gone for a long, that you don't know they're dead, but you're declaring them dead. I learned that from this. Actually, I knew it before from college, but I did. I just rejogged with my memory because I did think like Absentia is a cool name, like for a film. It's like, ooh, what does it mean? But yeah, you basically for like 60% of the film, you're dealing with someone who's gone missing, dealing with the person's grief, basically. She thinks he's imagining stuff because she's seen a psychiatrist. Things lead to another, and it's just not good. The acting is just not there. The camera shots are just really bad. Like, especially like you'd expect from like a college or university student to do. Maybe it is, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Because a couple of the actresses are not well known, but they're known to be actresses. So I can't see, but yeah, just avoid this film. Trust me, and there's just no payoff at the end. It's terrible. Just avoid. I'd say 2 out of 10. Right, next film, right, is boom, Overlord, that I've just watched. Right, just watch right now on Netflix. This is why I'm doing it. Now, this film is targeted to a kind of a specific genre or likes, like viewers, you know, audience, and I'm one of them. Right, this is a massive homage to Wolfenstein 3D and all the Wolfenstein games, and obviously, if you know that, you'll blatantly know what I'm talking about. So, for the better part of this film, it says it's horror. You look at the screen, you look at the trailers, it comes off as a horror. This is not horror. That's the only down thing to this film, because the film is friggin' awesome, right? Right. So yeah, beginning basically follows a group that are basically they've got to take down a tower. It's set in during the war, World War II, 1944, right, in France. And yeah, so they're parachutes and paratroopers even, and they've got the task of blowing a tower in this small France village. I forget its name, and so I'd say for the very first half of this film, it's over 1 hour and 50 minutes, by the way. For the first half of this film, It's just a war film, and it's a really good war film as well. I'm not even just saying it as in like, it's a backseat to a thing, but no, this is an actual really good war film, right? There's some bits of comedy elements and some like really deep, gritty moments, and then the protagonist, you'd say that is the lead protagonist. His name's Boyce. And he gets in basically the tower, and it's also a church. Well, like, the tower is a part of this church that they say, but this church is like a fortress. If you know what I'm saying when I say Wolfenstein, picture that, and you'll know exactly what I mean. So yeah, Boyce just so happens to get inside of this church slash tower, and let's just say that the Nazis are doing experiments there. Some horrific experiments. Obviously, again, I know I'm referencing it, but like, if you played Wolfenstein games, you know exactly where I'm going with this. It's a massive homage to it, and that's why I love this film. The reason why I'm mentioning it here now is because you're probably going to see this and think like Netflix recommendations. It's in the top 10 recommended as well. So you're going to think, you look at it and think, oh, horror? Because this is initially what I thought when I remember seeing the trailer. Yeah, come out in 2018. I remember seeing the trailer and being excited for it. Then, like, one of my pals in America, he actually seen it and said, "Nah, don't bother watching it. It's not a horror at all." Blah blah blah. So he just kind of like slid through the cracks, and I seen it today. And boom, a delight. But right, for me, this is like a 6, 7 out of 10 film. Probably pushing him towards 7, to be fair. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a wild ride. Is it horror? No, it's not. It isn't a horror. It's I can't even really kind of tell you kind of thing, because I don't want to ruin it. But yeah, it's just there's barely any horror theme in this film. I mean, like, the things that happen, like the experiments are horrific. It's only like a minute part of the film, and kind of like the enemies you probably seen a bit in like the Avengers and the Marvel universe. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Basically, there's gore in it, good stuff in my book. But yeah, it's not a horror film, but for me, a must watch if you love war films for a start. Yeah, so that's a 7 out of 10 for me. Right, and next up, boom! You have to watch this film. This is hands down my favourite film of the year that I've watched. It's a wild ride. It's a homage to everything a B-movie should be, and a B-movie horror at best. Very just amazing. Amazeballs. I know I've already covered this on the channel, but I needed to say it again because this is a must watch for Halloween. If you've watched All Hallows Eve 1 and 2, unfortunately, if you've watched the second one, I feel bad for you. You'll probably know exactly who this clown is. Art the Clown. But yeah, if you already want to go into depth on the review and stuff, I've got it already on the channel. But there's not much more I can say about this film. Amazing, go watch it. This is like an 8 out of 10 for me. Right, and then a sleeper hit. This is again kind of like Overlord, the second film that I mentioned, as in it's an acquired taste kind of film, as in like, if you like, let me bring it up, and it is Spiral, a Shudder original. Fantastic film. Shudder are knocking out of the park with me. I'm loving all their films I've seen so far. Another one is It Paints the Sand Red. That's hilarious. You must watch that. Anyway, this is kind of like a fresh out. It's about a homosexual couple that move into a town, and it's like they're very welcoming, and then like there's like another side where it's a bit like uneased, kind of like you've got like the main husband and the protagonist. I can't remember his name because it's been about a week since I've seen it, and he's the more untrustworthy. He's been through a lot as a kid, like growing up, coming to terms with like sexuality. Something happens to him as a kid as well, which is just absolutely terrible, and it kind of like, you kind of feel for him, but you kind of, the movie just like completely like it's unusual for a film to make me like, basically what's the best way to put this, like usually I can guess a film, especially by now, horror films and stuff, I can guess the end. Yeah. So straight away, I guessed this end. However, right, halfway through, well, no, it's more like towards the endish of this film that I'm like, actually, I think I'm wrong. I actually think it's something else, and that's unusual for a film to do that to me, and and it did, and I was surprised, and I was quite happy as well, because one thing I will say, if you watch the film Us, I love that film. There's so many plot holes in that film if you think about it, so many plot holes. My problem was, I guessed it straight from the beginning, like that. I'm not going to spoil it. I just guessed the end at the beginning, and then kind of like here, like towards the end of this film, it got to me at a point where I was just like, oh, don't do it, just prove me wrong, kind of thing, just don't do it, and he did it, and I was just like, oh, and that's what ruined Us for me. I really liked the film, but the ending and that kind of thing that really annoyed me if you've watched the film. But this film, I seen the trailer for it before it was released, and it looked really good. It looked different, you know what I'm saying? It's set in the 90s as well, which is awesome as well, because, you know, the LGBT community wasn't like as great as it is now, kind of welcomed as it is now. So you kind of see the struggle. However, you see it from 2 points of view. You got the older gentleman in the couple, the older gentleman, the younger person, and like the older gentleman is more into the community and get welcoming and like meeting the people, you know, in this town that they've just moved to, and where the younger one, he's more distrusting because of what happened to him. So you see it from kind of a bit of 2 points of view. You see it more from the younger person's point of view, the younger man's point of view, but you see it from the older gentleman as well. As in, like, you see this community that very welcoming, very supportive, great people. They've got stories, they've got answers for everything the younger guy kind of says. Like, it's in the synopsis as well, kind of thing. It's in the trailer that basically there's a same-sex married couple who's lesbians moved into town, I think like 10 years before, and they disappeared. And so, like, the younger guy finds that out, and he's just like, oh my god, something's going on, because he sees like a kind of a cultish thing going on, and he's like, oh, blah 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 blah, like to his older partner. And the other partner's like, well, yeah, they mentioned it. They said that blah blah blah. They had an answer for it, basically. So you can't get like you just get, trust me, it's a wild ride. It's a sleeper hit. I wasn't expecting more. I liked the trailer. It looked interesting, but I wasn't really like, you know, with these original films like Netflix original films and stuff like that haven't wowed me. If you know what I'm trying to say, as in, like, it hasn't really like. I was just like, okay. Apart from the documentaries are absolutely amazing, but like, yeah, the original films are just, they haven't done anything. They haven't like made me a believer that like Netflix originals are the way forward. But this film, I mean, it's a should-have original. This film must watch. Like when I said about being an acquired taste, a bit like Overlord as well, just because it's not horror. Again, it's not a horror film, even though, again, like the trailer and stuff like that, synopsis kind of portrays it as. It's not. I say unfortunately, but I think it works. It's more of a thriller, a psychological thriller, which I love anyway. But yeah, it's more of a psychological thriller than a horror. But it does have some horror elements, especially towards the end and stuff. But yeah, stick with it. It's a good film. I will give this about a 6.5 out of 10. Not a 6. Like, I can't believe that I put that, you know, that Pekowski tapes at a 6. Like, ignore that. Ignore the 5. It's a 4. Right? I don't know what I was on in that review. I might have to change it. But like, the film is just, that film, just don't watch it. I don't know what people are thinking when they're saying that's like the most scary film they've ever seen. There's no scare, there's no horror, it's terrible. Watch these 3 films that are recommended and stay clear of absentia. Anyway, guys, I just thought I'd give a nice little, maybe films that you've not heard of. I presume out of all of them, you've most likely heard of, not that one. Overlord, just due to the fact that I just said about it just coming out on Netflix being in the top recommendation. The reason why I watched it, basically, because like I said, my mate in America told me not to watch it, so I didn't. And then I seen it was on, and I was just like, you know what? I don't want to play any games or anything. I just want to chill out, let's watch a film. And you know what? It was awesome. It's a friggin' awesome film. If you like your war films, bang. If you if you like your kind of horror films, it's a plus as well. If it's just a good film, but all in all. Anyway, guys, turn my stats, signing off.